Hello everyone, I am Imonia Marere in Abuja. Here is what we are looking at on the program today. Party politics and the recent efforts at repositioning the All Progressives Congress APC and the PDP for the 2027 general elections. As Nigeria inches steadily toward the 2027 general elections, the political landscape is already beginning to take shape. At the heart of the unfolding drama are two of the country's main political parties, the opposition People's Democratic Party PDP and the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, both facing defining moments in their internal dynamics and future trajectories. For the PDP, recent efforts to reposition the party signify a critical bid to reclaim relevance and unity after years of internal discord, electoral setbacks, and identity crisis. From reconciliation meetings among estranged party leaders to attempts at redefining the party's ideological direction, the PDP is re-engineering itself to become a viable alternative once again. However, internal rivalries, regional power tussles, and trust deficits remain obstacles that must be addressed if the party hopes to win back the confidence of Nigerians. In the meantime, in the APC, the ruling party, the emergence of a new national chairman comes with its own unique set of challenges and expectations. Tasked with stabilizing a party that is strained by internal divisions, managing ambitions ahead of 2027, and ensuring cohesion between the party and the presidency, the new chairman inherits both a powerful platform and a potentially volatile house. He must balance competing interests, enforce party discipline, and reassert ideological clarity in a party that is increasingly shaped by personalities rather than principles. Together, these developments mark a significant chapter in Nigeria's democratic journey, a period where both ruling and opposition forces are being tested, redefined, and challenged to either rise to the moment or fade into irrelevance. The months ahead will be pivotal in determining not just the fate of the PDP and APC, but the broader trajectory of Nigeria's political future. How and who will define and determine that fate and trajectory? That is our focus here on people, politics, and power. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll get to meet our guest analysts who are right here with us. Stay with us.
Our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
All right, let's get to meet our guest analyst. Right here with me in the studio is Mr. Abdul Jabbar Rufai. He is a PDP chieftain and was a member of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council in 2019 and in 2023. Mr. Rufai, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here with you.
All right. Also joining us online is an independent analyst. He is Dr. Silvanus Dangoji. He is of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. Thank you so much, Dr. Dangoji, for joining us all the way from Zaria in Kaduna State.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Welcome. And we expect to join us very shortly Mr. Cletus Obum, who is a PDP chieftain. And while we wait for him to join us, let's begin this way. Let's begin with you, Dr. Dangoji. You are a university
Yes.
teacher, and you
Yes.
are looking at the political situation and the political parties from the outside. Tell us what to
Yes.
make of the recent developments in the two political parties. We're talking about the PDP, which has tried to forge a new unity within its ranks, and the APC that has recently elected or selected a new national chairman.
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. For me, these developments are not surprising. It signifies the fact that in politics, there may not be permanent friends, but there are permanent interests. So for both parties, I'm not surprised at the internal wranglings that are happening, the alignments and the realignments that are happening, because marriages of convenience are formed in electoral processes. And if those marriages do not serve the upcoming interests, those unions will be dissolved, and then new unions will also be formed. So it is expected that from now, counting down to the 2027 elections, there will be such alliances, such coming together, and then some separation. Beginning with the APC, I congratulate Professor Nentawe Yilwada for emergence as the chairman of the national chairman of the APC. And I think I studied his acceptance speech, and I identified the fact that he is grateful for the opportunity to discharge this responsibility. It is instructive that he is from Plateau, and Plateau is the only state in the North Central that is not an APC state. So to have a national chairman of APC from a non-APC state is something that is remarkable. Now, he said in his speech that he was going to unite factions. Indeed, the seat that he occupies now, other people were interested in it. So those interests need to be brought together. He talked about expansion. Definitely, the APC holds a lot of ground, but since it is the season of defection, we expect that they'll lose some members and then they'll also gain some members. So it is expected that they will go on the campaign to get more members. So rebuilding the party, making new arrangements in order to better the chances towards 2027 election, I think is a very important development. Very important because as it is, there are people who are dissatisfied and do not believe that APC has delivered the kind of hopes that they promise. So coming to PDP now, also Ambassador Omar Damagum has suffered a lot of challenge. Even in acting capacity, there was a time the treasurer of the party came and was an acting chair. But if all of these things are being done at the moment and new strategies and new realignments are happening, it shows that before the major political parties can deliver democracy to Nigeria, there has to be need for internal democracy within the parties. So it is expected these agitations are not surprised. So I challenge the new leaders of both political parties to make sure that they accommodate the various interests within their political parties, and then they give voice to people who would otherwise feel marginalized. Because unless the different political parties put their house in order, they will find it difficult to be victorious at the national platform. So these are my initial thoughts.
All right, Dr. Dangoji, before I bring in the two other analysts who are with us here, who are insiders of these two parties we are talking about, let me ask, what do you think would have informed the choice of the professor as the leader of the APC at this point in time? And what do you think necessitated the decision of the PDP to want to redefine itself, so to say, at this point in time, less than 2 years to the 2027 general elections? This is a party, the PDP, for instance, that has been, so to say, in some form of crisis or the other for so long, since the 2023 elections. And suddenly they have seen the need to try and come back together to forge some kind of unity ahead of the 2027 elections. What is driving both both of these forces?
All right, so beginning from the APC, why a professor? I believe that this professor, having served as Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and being therefore close to the presidency, will be like the eye and the ears of the presidency in the running of the party affairs. I am looking at a situation where the APC needs to reinvent itself to get some kind of personality that will be a rallying point. Only recently, we lost former President Muhammadu Buhari. He was key in bringing together the different factions that had APC, and he ruled for 8 years before he handed over to the current President Bola Tinubu. So I am looking at a unifying factor post-Buhari, post-Tinubu, that will hold the APC together and align all interests. So I see that Mentawe Yelwat election answers to the appeal of the North Central. I studied immediately after the resignation of Ganduje the different permutations that came up. North, West, North East were interested, but North Central, being the only state that is not an APC state, producing the chairman, I think is a step in the direction of unifying the party towards getting the national scores. And then when we come to the issue of PDP, PDP is supposed to be the shadow political party, is supposed to be the biggest opposition. But we know that PDP itself has suffered a lot over the years. So now that an election season is coming, it is in order for PDP to reinvent itself, for PDP to look at what it will offer in order to bring about a credible challenge to the current ruling party. So the major parties to look at in terms of national outlook, in terms of membership subscription, in terms of what they can offer as viable alternatives to the populace, definitely include the APC as the ruling party, the PDP, before we come to the issue of the ADC coalition, and then the new Nigeria People's Party having a lot of people defecting. Also, their number is increasing. Then we're now to talk about Labour Party with or without the obedient movement. People were saying they were not happy seeing Peter Obi in the ADC coalition. Why wouldn't he hold on to Labour Party? With or without Peter Obi, Labour Party is also another of the credible opposition parties. So we have some time now, between now and 2027 is the preparation. So let's see how the events unfold.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dangoji. Just stay with us. I'm happy to announce that Mr. Cletus Obum, the APC chieftain, is right here now with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Obum.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. I'm sure you have listened very carefully to Dr. Dangoji to try to analyze what he thinks is the situation in the APC and the PDP. Let's begin with you in the APC. You have a new national chairman in the party. What do you think informed the choice of the professor as the leader at this point in time? There have been many speculations about why and how he came about being the national chairman.
For me, let me say that the APC is a strategic party. Being a progressive party with a welfare tradition as a manifesto, it only has to look for those who can be a rallying point, like somebody rightly pointed out. But in APC, like you see, the rallying point in the formative days was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But today he's on the driving seat. So the weight of the country is so much on him that organizing party is no longer part of his duty. He can only oversee and can only intervene. So getting a person who is first having the pedigree that will be respectable. And that is why I brought out the theory, politically speaking, that the quality of party leadership is directly proportional to the quality of candidates and therefore the quality of governance. The reason is because you cannot move to a professor who is not seeking a job, who is looking for who has reached the pinnacle of his career. With that kind of pedigree, he is not in the job market. His job is already cut out for him. He's only rendering service at this point of his life. There is little to attract him to pecuniary interest and to material or political interest. He has reached his political zenith. So bringing him at this point makes him clear-headed, focused, and systematically positioned and strategically positioned to ensure that everybody is reined in for the sole purpose of rendering service to Nigeria through governance. And that governance structure can only come through party arrangement and alignment. Because the function of parties have been sufficiently whittled down on account of politics and governance issues. So parties no longer ask their elected officials and appointed officials to the issue of their manifesto. It now requires that the president and the governors have to pursue the manifesto without necessary checks and balances from the party. Before today, under NUPN, it is a party that dictates and goes to gauge the level of compliance with the party manifesto. With a Nantewa, we are now going to get, first of all, a first-class technocrat, bureaucrat, and professional who is going to bring his experience and exposure to bear, especially coming from the humanitarian affairs, which was at the heart of the APC manifesto, which is the welfare of the people. And as enshrined in the relevant sections of the national constitution of our country, which dictates that the welfare and security of the people is the primary purpose of governance. So coming from the welfare, from the humanitarian affairs ministry, it gives him a clearer view of the kind of things that our people are going. Everybody tells you, even somebody who has been in power for 24 years, uninterrupted 24 years, from 1999 to 2023, tells you he is hungry. It means that hunger has become a metaphor for the definition of Nigeria. And that is sufficiently going to guide this present chairman. And secondly, you should know that his coming into office at this point is not fortuitous, it is providential. Why? At the time when Nigeria was in crisis in the 60s, when it was emerging as a nation, the young man who was brought to steer the affairs of Nigeria at the age of 32 was an Angas man by the name of General Yakubu Jack Gowon. He is still alive today to see that his protege and the progenitor of his own generation and of his own tribe and country and of his own nature and his age is also coming to power to put the ruling party and steer it to stabilization and to make the country prosper according to the dreams of those of them who founded this country. So for people like Gowon, who is an Angas man like Nentawa, Nen in Angas means God. So he has God in his name. So he's going to rule this party, govern this party, and indeed preside over this party and supervise and superintend on its structures, from the wards to the local government, to the states, to the zones, to the national level, selecting both party executives and also getting elected party primaries in a way that there will be less rancor. And no other person would have done that than a professor.
Mr. Obun, was tribe and religion a factor in his selection?
Tribe and religion, clearly, where I said it is providential, which means it is happy coincidence of history, that each time this country has to steer itself to stabilization, people from a particular area are thrown up, not by their own design. Because if you ask Professor Nentawa to be national chairman yesterday, before the day he was made, he would have told you he has no interest. I can speak for him. I have not met him, but I can tell you from his body language, from his activities so far, and from where he came from the university system, clearly, he is not one who would have been aspiring to be a national chairman. But history, having thrusted it upon him, he takes the challenge in his stride. And I'm very confident that APC made no error. And don't forget that, like somebody pointed out, that is the only state in the north central state that is not APC. So putting, and of course, don't forget also that that is one of the most turbulent areas of the north central state in terms of security. So with a man like that coming in, I am sure that balancing of the interest groups and the tendencies that have generated the kind of crisis that have thrown up so many hostages that the governor is even characterizing it as terrorism. With Enentewa there, he will be on a daily basis on the neck of the president and security apparatus, because as minister, he's limited. But as national chairman, he is speaking to everybody who is in this government on the party's platform. So he has a lot of work to do, and that work is cut out for him, and he is eminently qualified and has. But he needs to surround himself. He needs to surround himself those who have been exposed to the tendencies that have put a banana peel on those who have sat on that seat. Remember that the national chairman in APC was removed by a ward chairman. that is not the kind of history he wants to create. That means that the issues that brought governors to become overlords and imperialistic in the decision of party decisions must have to go away. Party supremacy must not just be mounted, must not just be enshrined in the constitution of the party and the state and the Electoral Act. It must also be seen to act out in its full-fledged and its true meaning and its true definition as enshrined in our statute, so that we don't become a banana republic. Okay. And I think Nantawa is the right person at this time to deal with that issue.
Mr. Boone, you have thrown up a number of issues that we shall return to. But let me turn to Rufai at this point in time. Rufai, the 101 NEC meeting of the party, from the outside, appear to have cemented the cracks that are existed within the party since 2023. But internally, it doesn't appear as if all is still, has been clearly addressed. All the issues and all the cracks have been clearly cemented. What would be your response to people who think that way?
Yeah, okay. Before I get right into answering your questions, I would like to begin by paying my tribute and respect to a man who used to be my mentor in the person of late High Chief Raymond Dokpesi, who used to be my mentor and one of the main people that are very instrumental to why I'm being here and why I'm in politics in general. Now getting to your question, the PDP is in the right place, if you would ask me, for the first time in a very long time. We are in a situation where we want to be formidable. We can't argue that there are no crises or there are no, one or two disagreements. But we are working. We are working really hard. As you can see, there are alignments and realignments in the party to see how we can appease everyone that has maybe one or two disagreements in the party. For instance, I'll give you an example. The National Convention, of which I want to contest, I'm aspiring for the National Youth Leader of the party, has been postponed from August 26 to November. And the venue too has been changed from Kano to Oyo State. So all these alignments and realignments speaks to what? To the confidence. It speaks to the kind of, identifications to the problems that we have in the party, and the party leaders in leadership of the chairman of the Governors Forum, Governor Bala Mohammed, I think they are really working hard to see how they can appease everyone and they can, reach out to aggrieved members of the party, even those that have left the party. If you can remember, just a few days ago, I think 3 days ago, the party leadership reached out to His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of Labour Party, to see how they can, speak to him and talk about the possibilities of rejoining the party that he was run as the vice presidential candidate in 2019. So I think there is a lot of optimism, there is a lot of hope in the party, and I believe we are working towards the right direction. And this is the first time, like I said, in a very long time that the party is coming out with unity, is coming out with sincerity. I mean, Nigeria is tired of all this political gymnastics where, we don't know we are heading to the first day of this administration, of the APC administration. There is change. There is a different, portion of a different, stage of hardship after the administration of late General Muhammad Buhari, coming of the now president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has renewed, not hope, it has renewed hardship to the country. So I believe PDP, being the structured party, it has always been, and the most, the most structured party in Nigeria since 1999, or if you like it, the most structured party in West Africa, because PDP, has legacy. PDP has structure. PDP has history. to be the main party that has existence in every local government, every ward, every state of this country. You can't say the same for the APC or any other political party. So I will leave that as it is, that we are hopeful, and coming the November 2025 convention, where we are going to elect our new set of fresh National Working Committee in the party, that we are going to steer the party into victory in 2027 elections, inshallah.
That structure that you talk about, the PDP
Yeah.
being the most structured, but appears to have been fractured before and after the 2023 elections. In fact, flowing from even the 2019 elections, that's where structured party appears to have had cracks, to have had his system fractured. And it does appear that it's almost difficult for you to restructure that system back to where it was. Let me give you an example. At the just concluded NEC meeting, if you noticed, and some people have pointed this out, that some very prominent members of the party from the Southeast were conspicuously absent from that meeting. What is happening? Why are the structures in the Southeast not associating with the new direction that you want to take the party?
Well, the People's Democratic Party, like every other large political party in democracy in the world, have its storms. We have our internal crisis, and so does the APC, or obviously is the APC. So definitely there are other people that are still aggrieved in the party. And you talked about the Southeast. I don't really notice any absentees in the Southeast.
Your BOT chairman did not come.
Adolfo
The Enugu State governor did not attend.
Yes.
A very prominent member like Senator Benubi was not
But
there.
I saw
persons.
people like former governor Ifeanyi Ugwanyi. I saw other people like, and when you have former governor Ifeanyi Ugwanyi at a place, you ensure that whether Governor Okezi Ikpeazu is there or is not there, it doesn't matter, because Ifeanyi Ugwanyi is going to speak for him, and they speak with one voice. So I believe there is representation from every geopolitical zone in the party, and we have maybe, 16, 17 months into the general election. Before that time, before the end of this year, inshallah, we are going to appease every aggrieved member of the party.
Dr. Dangoji, let's bring you back into the discussion now. Of course, like I said at the beginning, you are an outsider looking in from outside into these two political parties. You have heard both Mr. Cletus Obum and Mr. Rufai speak very eloquently about what their parties are doing ahead of 2027. Does it seem to you that these two parties are going in the right direction? They are in the right trajectory in trying to redefine and rebuild or reposition their political parties for a more inclusive party exercise and electoral success?
Right direction, but you know, it is the electorate that will determine the color and the pattern of the voting that will happen eventually. As it is, the electorate, they are already tired of the presentation of manifesto, of promises, of rolling plan. There are issues of the problem of continuity between one regime and the other. And therefore, people believe that the discussions we're having now would be some analysis that will only be helpful if they see a translation of improvements in their general way of life. So that therefore challenges the two parties, and the two gentlemen sitting with you in the studio there have said what they are doing. I believe that they are among the top parties that can canvass more votes. So they need to work on the issue of membership subscription. They need to increase the broad base of their membership such that they should have that nationalistic spread, that nationalistic outlook. I like the line of questioning you are questioning the PDP person. about how some parts of the country did not appear to have featured prominently in the events that are supposed to be national. So I'm sure that they go away to work on that. They'll go away to work on that to see how the party will be more inclusive. Therefore, the political parties there should also offer credible alternatives, credible solutions that will address Nigeria's developmental and socio-political needs. So as the elections are coming up, I hope that those two parties will offer new wine in new skin, not necessarily in terms of age, but if by the time they do their primaries, we see the kind of people that they throw up, let that be people who have ideas that can help us to go beyond where we already are. Otherwise, for a long time, since Nigeria's return to democracy, there are different areas where I've been running around in a circle, but people want to see remarkable progress in the path of the sustainable development that will improve the life of the citizens and make life easier for them. Let people not regret over what they have gained in these decades of democracy so far. So internal democratic structures must be put in place. The level playing ground for the emergence of aspirants to elective offices, the transparent conduct of the primaries, these are things remaining for these parties to do as we count down towards the 2027 election.
Mr. Boom, I'm going to ask you straight on. Do you think that the professor has the capacity and the political will to carry out the assignment as national chairman? I ask that against the backdrop of the fact that only a few days ago we saw, well, it's claimed in the media to be thousands of your party members in Kano State moving to the NNPP in the party. In other words, there are people who are not too comfortable staying on within the party. And that is happening just a few days after the emergence of the professor. Does he have what it takes to navigate the landmines that are usually there? You talked of banana peas earlier on. The landmines that are usually laid out there for every national chairman in any of the political parties in Nigeria, and for him to be able to weather the storm and the intrigues that will come with occupying that office.
Yes, I'll start again. We are in a festive mood on account of the winning of our girls, the Falcons, to have conquered Africa and going for the World Cup. While we also were in that mood, my friend here was talking about crisis in APC and trying to get into a political contagion in which the effects, what is affecting PDP is supposed to affect APC. The extent to which that is possible is our sympathy with a party that's inflicted upon itself and migrated from a transformation to transmogrification. It transmogrified and shrunk itself from 21 states as at 2014-2015 to a mere 7 by 2025, and he's talking about national spread. And a party to which he claims should have a national look is dealing with about between 25 to 27 states, and still counting, as the president will put it. And if you now deal with the issue of sectoral or sectional or zonal marking, out of 6 in the southwest, you have only 1 PDP. In the south-south, you have only 1 PDP. That is already in the southern Nigeria. In the southeast, only Anambra and Abia State, maybe Enugu, if you like, they have just Enugu State, while we are dealing with the rest. And in the south, north central, we have only Plateau State. And we are counting northwest and northeast, 5 in the northwest out of 7. From Jigawa to Sokoto, from Kebbi to Jigawa and Kaduna. And then we are still talking about a shrinking party, and a party that has national spread and has structure. I don't know how a structureless party can get that kind of spread, and everybody is campering to join it for safety from a sinking ship.
Safety from what?
Safety from a sinking ship. Now, because it has sufficiently torn its umbrella and the rain is beating and battering almost everybody there. And we have thought I would give them a Christian, a quiet burial in a manner that will befit a people who have sat here for 16 years like locusts and decimated this country. And having come to the rescue, you can see that to show continuity in governance, which our professor is talking about, when Buhari came into office, almost every project that was abandoned, if you don't know any other one, you remember Abuja to Makurdi. If you remember no other one, even though you can see nothing, at least you can see that we are struggling to just fix one lane from Abuja to Makurdi, which was 3 hours, 5 minutes. That's my road to Cross River. So I know the road like the back of my hand. Under 12 months, it was. In Abuja today, almost every, what you know as Abuja Master Plan was done by Madam El-Rufai. For 16 years, they battled to, if as much as even get the master plan implemented. In less than 12 months, the master plan is being restored. And in 24 months, you are seeing what you are seeing in Abuja. If you've not been to Abuja in the last 1 year, if you come here, you will miss your way. As you live here, you keep missing your way. All on account of one man, continuity, and doing that. Nobody in APC has claimed that everything they are doing was started by them. Whether it is the railroads, they've been marked out for us. Now, going back to your question on Kanu. Kanu is a flashpoint. It is very important and central to us. Those who didn't understand the man Ganduje are mistaking the fact that his leaving means that he was thrown under the bus. I insist, and because I know him, I have worked with him. He was an unwilling national chairman of APC. At no time did he aspire to be there. And when it was time for him to be, he said, I have stabilized the party. Please, can I now go? I just left as governor, and I wanted the rest. You said I should come and perform this duty. Having won the election, having stabilized the party, can I now move on? And the president and the party structures and the party organs and the leadership and the BOT sat back and allowed him and said, you can go. But some members of his party
appears to be very sweet explanation for
no, I know so because I know him. And I know that even when he was being nominated, I had meetings with him in which he said, look, I wanted to travel out, but this is what the president is telling me. I said, okay, let's go out and promote it. He said, no, don't promote it. It's the president and his team that have invited me twice, and the governors have also invited me. And the National Working Committee members have met with me, and this is what they are telling me. So if that is what they are saying, I shouldn't be the one, I'm not campaigning for it. He said so to me in the presence of several of his supporters. So when I talk, I'm speaking from certainly personal experience. Now, beyond that point, is that the Nentewa professor, or Nentewa coming in now, like I said, is that he has seen it all. In his profession, he has used the pinnacle. Being a professor, you can't be more than a professor. You can be a visiting professor, you can be anything, it is just that you are a professor. Now he is coming in as minister, politically speaking. Don't forget, he also ran governorship, meaning that having exhausted and having reached the pinnacle of his career, he wanted to give back to society, and that is to be governor in order to touch more lives, because at that point you are touching more lives. And the president said, come here and serve, you can do the same here as minister, and be my eye in the humanitarian affairs ministry. The humanitarian affairs cut across all ministries, all. Whether it's Minister of Water, whether it's Minister of Health, humanitarian affairs touches it. So he's sitting pretty. So he's had no time too ambitious to start. There's nothing more he can look for at this point, except to go back as governor of Plateau, to go back as any other thing, because if it is anything, if minister made so much for him, he would have said, I don't want to go, I want to remain minister. We saw from that same Plateau, when I talk about the vegetation of leadership, in Plateau, Lalong was a minister. When he won his case in the tribunal, he returned as senator, meaning here he feels he can serve. He started as a parliamentarian, and he knows that that is his area of strength, and that's where he can contribute more and add value to the system. Other people would have sat there because there's a subhead, there is budget for minister. There's no such thing for a parliamentarian. But to show that he came for service. So also is Nentewa now. He's leaving ministerial position, which has a budget, and saying, let me become national chairman, which has no budget, which has no office, which is just dependent on what you bring on the table. All he's doing is to organize, mobilize, and stabilize. So he has the pedigree, he has the panache, and he has demonstrated enough pedigree to show that he can handle the national chairmanship of this party without bias, without carrying with him any baggage or beholden to anybody except the party and service. Now, having said that, let me also go back to, because APC cannot exist without opposition. It is my intention that PDP should gather itself together to at least give us a semblance of opposition. Because Labour Party, ABGA, ADC, that is a conglomeration of displaced comrades, we have to pity them. We have sympathy for them. That sympathy cannot grow beyond ourselves, because even the Bible tells us, love your neighbor as yourself. So we must like APC first. So we'll love ourselves, but to the extent that we'll encourage them to keep reminding us that they exist, so that their survival will also be part of us. Because when we say the welfare and security of the people is the primary purpose of governance, that governance also includes opposition elements. And that is why you find people like Wike gladly coming to serve here, and we're not giving them anything by the side. We're putting them in the center of activities, and we like more of them like that. Remember the government of national unity under Yaradua. I was part of those who rejected it. And the reason was that it is better for you to take one of us to come and save you in an area that you think we have interest. And we discovered that Wike, being a project master, can do so much for FCT, and brought him here, like a player on loan to another football club. And he has not left. So we are putting him here on loan. When he finishes his service, he returns to his party and help them to organize, having come here for some tutorials on how to organize party and keep the party together. For us, we are doing a duty to Nigeria to promote democracy and sustain it in a manner that will make Nigeria the greatest black democracy on earth.
Mr. Rufai, on this reconciliation tract that the PDP has embarked upon, do you think, with the defections and the movement from your party to other political parties, almost on a weekly basis we hear of elected parliamentarians defecting from your party, either to the APC or moving on to the newly formed coalition, the ADC. Even with all that you are doing now, your party is doing now, in trying to reposition the party, do you see them returning? Do you see yourself as a party consolidating without these people?
You see, we are on that process of reconciliation and reigniting the spirit in the PDP. You see, the People's Democratic Party has this spirit that it inflicts on other parties as well. You spoke about the achievement of Malam Nasir El-Rufai. Under which government? The Obasanjo government, which is the PDP government. Speaking about the poster boy of this administration, the one person that they can bring out as their poster boy, the best minister given by Arise News, is who? Nyesom Wike. Nyesom Wike is a card-carrying member of the PDP. That goes to show you that PDP members are achievers wherever they go.
Who feels aggrieved with what is going on within the PDP at the moment? He feels aggrieved.
Not at the moment.
He has said it several times.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, he wasn't at the last NEC meeting.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't at last NEC meeting, but his disciples are. His disciples, like former Governor Otom was there, Ifeanyi Ugwanyi was there, like a lot of his, loyalists are there.
Are they his disciples or they are his colleagues?
They are his colleagues.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
what's good arrogance? There's no arrogance.
Go on.
No, I mean, that was a mistake, obviously. Okay. But my point here is inflicting on other political parties, and that is how PDP is, in a nutshell. Well, that's how we do it.
So you train the players and loan them out to go and perform in other
Not necessarily parties. In other political parties, but wherever a PDP member is, will stand out. That is my point.
All right, so do you think that those who have left are likely to return?
Definitely.
Or that you are going to
Definitely.
you are going to push on without them? Because your 2020, your 2019 and 2023 presidential candidate has left with a lot of his supporters. Do you see him returning?
The legal wing of the National
the running mate of that candidate in 2019 also left and went to Labour. And you are trying to woo him back. Do you see them returning?
of course, if they see a place in PDP, and they will see a place in PDP because that is the main opposition party, and that is the only party that can take back Nigerians from this tyranny, this impunity of leadership we have under the APC. And another thing I would like to draw your attention is this. You see, those people, especially the lawmakers that are defecting from the People's Democratic Party into other political parties, it is the responsibility now of the legal wing of the National Working Committee under the stewardship of the National Legal Advisor to see how we can get back those seats at the National Assembly, because they are, you know, those seats rightfully belong to
is that a course you want to follow? Because obviously your party is in crisis, and the constitution is quite clear that when a party is in crisis, it's a solid ground for parliamentarians to want to move.
PDP is not a party of laws. They respect no constitution. They want impunity of this.
And yet you copied our constitution. No. The whole APC constitution is PDP
Please,
constitution. Go and check it.
ACN. I participated in the formation of ACN and CPC. CPC constitution is what make up the... So don't go and delude yourself. One of the things you forget is that PDP took off as a welfare party and then metamorphosed into a tyrant, pocket tyrants all over the place. And when they were being warned about it, they did not. I was at the formation from PDM. I didn't ask somebody. I'm telling you that I was a member of PDM when PDP was formed. We were from the PDM fold, from Yaradua. Shehu Musa Yaradua, the general. We were faction from SDP. We came from there. So if you now begin to discuss what you are discussing now without the facts and without your history correctly interpreted, it's not enough to have the facts. You must also have the correct interpretation of those historical facts. And in that way, we are going to have ourselves in a position where PDP, if you continue at this rate, and if they have injected you with this level of indoctrination, it is going to completely engage you in political hierarchy. You will commit political suicide by following that trajectory, which has put down everything that has ever been. When we predicted to them that these were vagabonds in power, as far back as 2008, we told them these are vagabonds in power, that at this rate you won't survive this country, and that this country is too small. And that is why nobody in APC is aspiring to have a one-party state. And that's why I'm telling you that we will even fund you to ensure that you become at least a viral opposition. We will support you to ensure that you are a viral opposition, because when we were in opposition, we showed you what opposition should do, and we came up and took power from you in a manner that showed that we know what we were doing.
All right, so Mr. Poom, let's bring Dr. Dangoji back now as we round off our discussion. Dr. Dangoji, what are your expectations? You have heard from both parties. What are your expectations moving forward? What should be done, or what do you advise each of them to do?
I like the optimism of the ruling party, and the gentleman from APC is certain that they are going to achieve what the national chairman in his own acceptance speech also said: the election is a done deal. But I do not quite think so, because I think we shall see as the 2027 elections come up. But what we must contend with now is that credible opposition should not be overlooked. The fortunes of PDP at the moment are happening, and nobody would know whether APC has the kind of immunity against those kind of fortunes happening. If PDP was defeated as a sitting government, are we sure that APC is immune from being defeated as a sitting government? So let's look at it, because in the trajectory of history, there is the emergence, there is the rise, there is the consolidation of empires, and then we hear about decline. History has taught us about old empires, how they rose, how they were all powerful, but different factors led to their own dwindling. So if APC is sure that they have built the kind of immunity that will not dwindle like the dwindling fortunes of PDP, good and fine. If PDP is able to reinvent itself and then plug the leaking holes in what the gentleman says is the sinking ship, that sinking ship can be salvaged. The leakage that the water is coming in can be plugged, and then they can be buoyed up. But in the end of the day, us as voters, us as the electorate, we have the yellow card, we have the red card, and then we enjoin the parties to exercise internal democracy. Allow the credible candidates to emerge out of the primaries. Because if people move away from your party, because of dissatisfaction with the internal electoral process, then you'll be surprised the kind of upstage that can happen in the electoral processes. And of course, it is not yet over until it is over.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Silvanus Dangoji. He teaches at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And right here in the studio, we had Mr. Cletus Obun, who is an APC chieftain. Thank you so much for your time. And Abdul Jabbar Rufai, PDP chieftain. And he was also a member of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council in 2019 and 2023. You are aspiring to be the national youth leader of the PDP at the next convention.
Yes.
We wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is a continuing discussion. We must keep these discussions going as we move towards 2027. And that means that we can always and we will always bring you gentlemen back here to push further the limits of our talks. Thank you so much for your time. And for our viewers out there, I want to thank you for investing your time with us. We'll see you again when we bring you another edition of People, Politics, and Power. And like we always say here, what have you done for Nigeria today? What do you intend to do for Nigeria in the future? Thank you, and bye-bye.